Hello everyone, my name is Jonis Visukarma. Today I will be presenting my Practicum 1 project titled Reddit Inside Chatbot with Retrieval Augmented Generation, in short RAG. Let's get started. Why Reddit? I choose Reddit because it's one of the few platforms where professionals openly share their real experiences, both good and bad, about the tool they use. You'll find the lawyers discussing case management app, construction managers talking about scheduling tools, IT folks comparing project platforms. But the problem is all that information is unstructured. It is scattered across the thousands of threads and hard to search. So I thought, what if we could gather all those conversations, analyze them, and make them searchable using a simple chatbot interface? The main goal of my project was to create a chatbot that helps people quickly identify insight from Reddit data, especially around the software use, pain point, and sentiment. To achieve that, I set out a few key objectives. First, collect and clean Reddit data. Second, analyze which software tools are mentioned most often and how people feel about them. Then store those inside in a semantic database using Pinecone. And finally, build a chatbot powered by a RAG model and compare its performance with a normal large language model. So let's see how I build this pipeline step by step. I have partnered with MSP Shift in this project. MSP Shift is a locally owned managed service provider based in Denver who originally proposed the idea. They wanted a research tool to surface real world feedback on software. So that's where this project started. This project built a chatbot that turns thousands of real Reddit conversations into useful insight about software tools used in industries like law, construction, and technology. The goal was to create something that could actually help a business understand what people are saying about their tools in the real world. I started by collecting Reddit posts, cleaned and filtered them for quality, ran sentiment analysis to understand user opinions, indexed the data into Pinecone for retrieval, and finally connected to OpenAI's GPT 3.5 for generating answer. The last part of the process was evaluating how well the RAG model performed compared to standard LLM. This pipeline really shows how data flows all the way from a ready text to an interactive chatbot. For the data collection part, I use Push Shift API, which let us pull Reddit post in bulk. I focused on three main subreddit: legal tech, constructions, and technology. Altogether, I collected about 57,000 posts, including titles, text, upvote, and timestamp, etc. The data was big and messy at first, but it gave me a great foundation for exploring how people in different industries talk about the software. This stage really showed me how much variety there is in real ready discussion. Everything from tool recommendation to long complaint threads. Once I had the data, I needed to clean it up. That means removing duplicate spam and the posts that didn't actually talk about the tool. After cleaning the dataset went from over 57,000 entries down to 1378 high quality posts. I also added the simple label for each post, law, construction, or tech, and extracted software mentioned like Celio, Procore, Microsoft Team, etc. This cleaning step made a huge difference because it removed noise and made the insight much more meaningful later in the process. Next, I wanted to understand how users actually felt about the tools they discussed. For this, I used Vader sentiment model to classify each post as positive, neutral, or negative. As you can see on the pie chart, we have more positive com- post compared to neutral and negative. This gave me a nice overview. For example, user intended to praise Celio for its document management, while construction professional often complain about scheduling tools being unreliable. So sentiment analysis added another layer of insight, not just what tools people use, but what they think about them. This is where things got exciting. I built the chatbot using the retrieval augmented generation approach. When you ask a question, the system first retrieves the most relevant Reddit post using the embeddings created by Hugging Face model and then stored in Pinecone. Those retrieved posts are then passed to OpenAI's GPT 3.5 Turbo model, which summarizes and forms an answer only based on the Reddit post. That's what makes the RAG different. The answers are grounded in real data instead of relying purely on the model's memory. This design helped reduce hallucinations and improve the trust in the chatbot response. As you can see on the screenshot, this is what the chatbot look like. It's a simple web interface built with flags. On the left, you can see a button that let me run each step of the data pipeline, including scraping, cleaning, sentiment, indexing, and evaluation. On the right, there is a chat window where I can talk to the model and see the response live. One cool feature I have integrated on this pipeline is the live log streaming, where when a long task run, I can actually watch the progress in the real time instead of waiting with no feedback. This made testing and debugging much smoother. To measure how well the chatbot worked, I designed a small evaluation test. I created 20 questions, 15 that were relevant to our industry, and 5 were intentionally out of scope, like random or unrelated question. The RAG model and regular LLM answered all 20 questions, and then I compared their result using standard metrics, including accuracy, precision, recall, and F1 score. This helped me see not only how many answers were correct, but also how confidently and consistently each model responded. As you can see on the screen, here's what I found. The RAG model achieved an accuracy of 65%, which is pretty solid for such a small domain dataset. It had very high precision, one meaning that when it gave an answer, it was almost always correct. However, its recall was lower, 0.35, which means it sometimes chose not to answer when it wasn't confident. That's a good thing in practice because it prevents misinformation. The plain LLM, on the other hand, scored 100% across the board, but that's misleading. It tends to answer everything even when there's no data to back it up. So overall, RAG gave fewer answers, but they were more trustworthy and grounded in evidence. From all the Reddit analysis, a few interesting patterns we can see. In legal field, tools like Celio and Filevine are most talked about. In tech, Microsoft Teams and Outlook dominate discussions around collaboration. And in construction, professionals consistently complained about scheduling and coordination tools being frustrating. These findings are based on what real users say, not the product review or marketing, so they represent genuine community sentiment. For MSP Shift, insight like this could guide decision about which tool to support or where service opportunity might exist. This project taught me a lot about end-to-end AI development. One of the lessons was that data quality matters far more than data quantity. Clean, structured text led to better retrieval and much clearer answer. Another takeaway was how RAG helped increase trust by showing answer grounded in actual data, something especially important when discussion depend on the information. Forward, I plan to extend the dataset to include more subreddit, maybe even deploy this chatbot online and explore improved embedding models. For MSP Shift, this system could eventually become a live dashboard to track real-time software sentiment in their key industry. Thank you so much for listening. Working on this project has been a great experience, from collecting data and cleaning thousands of Reddit posts to building a real working chatbot. I would like to thank my professor and also MSPC team for their input and encouragement throughout this project. If you like to explore the code or try the chatbot, I have included GitHub link on this slide. I will be happy to take any question. Thanks again for your time. Now I will walk you through the actual chatbot we have created. So this is what the pipeline of the chatbot look like. So we have a different button for the each tasks we have created. We have collect, clean, sentiment, indexing, evaluation, and run full pipeline, which will run the all the tags in sequence. So on the top, on the bottom, we have a button for the actual chatbot. So we can interact with our RAG model. So so whatever we ask with this RAG chatbot, the answer we our response we are getting is from the data set we have provided. So I will ask what is the top software used in tech industry. So it will give me the answer from the Reddit discussion dataset we have created. So you can see based on the Reddit discussion provided. So I will ask some out of scope question like what is, for example, data science. So it will simply say I don't know because it doesn't have that information in our data set. I will ask one more out of scope question like what is the capital city of, for example, France. So let's see. Still, it says I don't know. So this is how the chatbot works. It simply gives the answer based on the information it has on the data set. So for instance, I will run the run evaluation button, and as you can see on the screen, I have placed a small live monitoring, and we can see the output as well on that monitor. So for the evaluation, I have created 20 questions, 15 related to the rack data set we have created, and 5 out of scope question. So we can compare side by side both of the answer by rack and LLM. Thank you.